In this video, I'm going to respond to a comment that's, you can tell the person's in despair. And I told the person I would respond to them about something that they said. And my name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. The material, I go all over the place with it. It's just that there's one truth, there's one big thing going on, and it's really hard to hook into. So since I'm not really having any success with my videos anymore, I'm just going all over the place and theorizing, how life works. Anyway, here is the comment, and it was on my video, Quantum Universe, Quantum Spirit. And here was his comment. Sick of this life. We almost didn't choose shit. I can't live, I can't die. Almost nothing is convincing. It's BS. It's a trap. It's a continuous dilemma. It's a prison. This is BS. All right, that's frustration. I get that. I've been there. I have been there. Yep. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, damn it. Yeah, I've been there. And almost all of these videos, content, and talks on the internet are futile and overwhelming, delusional, overused, hackneyed, complicating and complicated, and hard. All right, that's a lot of frustration right there, and I get it. And I'm with you on that. I've been going to other channels and looking at their spiritual things, and there's all that AI stuff that's being generated now. And it's really, if you listen to it, it's very superficial. It's very surface. They tell you all of the things that people say. However, they don't tell you how to do it. If you're being told you got to let it go, how? How do you let it go? If you're being told, that you've got to somehow forgive something in the past, how do you do that? If you're being told you have to be the observer of yourself, what the hell? How? Nobody knows how to do it. They're just regurgitating the superficial stuff. And, this is how you can tell sometimes. Like talking to people who say, and through Kundalini Yoga, I have opened my third eye. What does that mean? What does it do for you? What is your third eye? Suddenly, it'll go very quickly south, very fast, and it'll come down to something like, well, when you can do it, you will know yourself. Nobody can explain anything. They just want to run around telling people that I'm enlightened if they're not on board. All right, so people that are frustrated like you're looking for real answers. All that crap you hear, people are just saying, they're just saying shit. How? How do you do it? I'm hurt. This is mental. It's psychological. We're hurt. All right. And it's going to be an easy process to understand, honestly, but a very difficult process to engage with. The truth of it is this. When we're born, we come with a certain set of fixed things in our brain. We have no control over that. We've got DNA. We've got, where we are, our skin color, all that stuff. Preferences, sexual preferences, our brain types, whether or not you're an introvert, extrovert, you're going to be optimized to be an engineer or an adventurer or somebody that just goes hunting and fighting. And we have different brain types that are we're not the same. We are not the same. And what we're doing, the thinkers, we're looking for answers in a group of people that are not the thinkers. And they're just saying that, I just feel good about it. I feel good about it. Well, we don't. We have a different brain type that we have to resolve this stuff because it doesn't feel good. Things don't work. So what happens when we're at a young age, when we're infants, we're living without any memories. If you watched a baby and tickled the baby, you'd see it laugh. If you pinch the baby, you see it cry. What you're doing is you're manipulating pure awareness in a child right there. That's pure awareness, but that child will not even remember that. It has no cognition. That child we all come from there. We're living through pure awareness when we're born. However, without enough brain development to have memories, we have no way of understanding anything until we start developing memories and a sense of self. So we start off as little kids. You're even learning how to ask for food and things like that. Later, you don't even remember it. I'm sure at 3 or 4 years old, we're asking for bananas or food or fruit. You don't even remember it. Okay, so what happens in life then, is, depending on where we are, is we begin to have life experiences and we judge those life experiences. And we continue to judge until it becomes a big mass of judged experiences. That right there is what is clogging up our flow in life. Those right there create the flow in life. All of these things in here, they continue to trigger, they continue to be there because they're unresolved issues. So what you have to do is look at each of those, and there are really some things in the past, or there could be things now that just hanging on to things, having intense desire that is unfulfilled, that's going to screw you up. Or having things that are put away that you don't want to deal with because they're hurtful, they're ugly, they're shame, they're pain, that's going to hurt you. We're living through that stuff, whether we know it or not. We are now living through our memories. The observer is the person that can step outside and look at it and go, oh, I see myself and I see those memories. That's the observer. That's where we were as children, but we didn't have the mental cognition to know it. Now we grow through life and we're living through our memories, our experiences, our desires, the things that we want, the things we hate. All of that become a part of how we're living life in anguish. We have to learn how to let that stuff go. But we do so how? I got molested. I hate it. I'm ashamed. I don't want to tell anybody. What I have to do is fix that shame, and that's not going to be easy. I got molested. That's shameful. I didn't want anybody to know. Okay, so what I do then is I understand that a lot of people get molested. There's sex trade going on. We're evolving human beings. We don't like to get outside of ourselves because we're afraid of talking to other people, but we're very common. That so much is happening to all of us in the same way that we need to understand that. I added this on editing. Forgiveness is an important thing. You don't forgive. Think about this. Let's say somebody did something to you once and it really makes you mad, and you're supposed to, and you learn at some point your life will be better if you forgive that person. So you go, okay, I forgive that person. Do you? You can say I forgive that person, but are you going to shake their hand? Are you going to, in your mind, you might think, I don't ever want to see them again. There's something still not right. And I'm not suggesting that you should be friends with that person. No, not at all. What I'm suggesting is this. This is what you have to do. The forgiving is this exactly. You have a memory with that person and a perception and an emotional state as a result. You must change the perception. You don't change the emotion. You don't forgive. The emotion is a result of the perception. You can't change the event. You have to change how you view the event. How do you remove yourself from it, which changes the emotion? That's what you do. It's not about forgiving. It's about resolving this, because this emotion is the rudder in life. That's the problem. You got to change that emotion. And that emotion comes from the event and the perception. You cannot change the event. You must change the perception. That is forgiveness. That I am not unique, that I have to get out of I am a little person, individual within this pain that is experiencing this pain. That's not what I really am, but I will readily mentally go there and can't escape it because I don't know any different. Nobody's taught me to be that observer and to heal that stuff. And I finally have to find a way to say, you know what? I was a person that was coming up through life. That's what happened. They were people that took me off the streets that molested me. I was a runaway kid and I was dirty in a very short period of time, stinky, hungry. I probably would not have lived. Was it a good thing? No, but I look back and you can find ways for me anyway, it's like, yeah, you know, at some point you can't sit there and say, oh, this hurts so bad, I don't know what to do. As long as you don't resolve that, it's going to continue to not only affect you, but the more you look at it, it's going to continue to compound. Now, there's a lot of these. We have a lot of issues. We're also in environments that might be hurtful. I remember being in a work environment one time that was absolutely toxic for me. And I couldn't resolve things there. It was a bad group of people that was just really, we didn't blend. I was a liberal among, among people who think differently than me. In an environment where they're, hatred towards Muslims. And my wife is from, my wife comes from Malaysia and a Muslim home, and she's just like anybody else in the world, and so are her friends and things like that. So have all this stuff going on, you're trying to tell them, no, that's not what's going on. Next thing you know, you're the targeted one as being the one who supports terrorism and all kinds of shit. It was just like, fuck, this is so horrific. People are so ignorant. Anyway, that was not a healthy environment. I had to finally get out of that. It was so bad for me. And so that's just an example. You have to look at your own life and say, am I caught up in something here that is just, I have to get out of this. I've got to find something else. You're not going to heal when you're there. You're not going to dry off when you're standing in the rain. You're not, if you're in an environment where you're getting hurt, maybe you can resolve it. If you're at a job, you have to you have to work in, it depends on what it is. Okay. At the end of the day, people like us are not going to we're not going to have an easy time disconnecting. Our brains are wired to just know and to be aware, and to feel and to sense. So we're not going to be like other people. People that are saying, just do this, just do that. Maybe it works for them because they got no problems, or they just don't care. They got no shame. No, they don't feel any bad thing about it. Well, it doesn't work for you that way. It doesn't work for me that way. I can't just go, I'm going to forget about it. All the things that happen, my brother's suicide and all that stuff, and being beat and being whipped with a belt until you're welted from top to bottom. Yeah, no big deal. I'm just going to let all that go. I was freaking hurt. I often forget about this. I thought about it in editing and put it in. There was a time about 14, 15 years old before I ran away that I had started cutting. I was using razor blades and cutting my own skin. That was hurting my life. I had to revisit that stuff. And then here's something else that happens. You get ghosts, I call them. What they are is memories, unresolved memories. Here's how you find them. There's times of acknowledgement. After my brother's suicide was one where I was in an environment. We went to church. I don't know. We went to church, and I was in Sunday school, and I got sent to right after my brother. It was in November, so Christmas was coming up, and my birthday is right before Christmas too. So a couple weeks after his funeral, I'm going through the motion. I'm a depressed kid. I'm not functional. I'm just walking around in a daze. I don't know what to do. I cut my brother down out of the tree. I tried to give him mouth to mouth. He throws up. I'm 9 years old. I'm really traumatized. And I get sent from my Sunday school class down to my brother's Sunday school class, what would have been his class. He was a grade up above me. And I got sent down there to bring a note or something like that. And as soon as I opened the door, they burst into happy birthday for me. There's a cake there. There's some gifts on the table, Cootie Bug, Mr. Potato Head, stuff like that. Some gifts for Danny to make Danny feel good for his birthday. And I remember just bawling. And I remember asking Mr. Woodard, who was the Sunday school teacher, did you just do this for me because Larry's dead? And he didn't know what to do. But I remember thinking of that memory, and it just made me bawl, thinking of the memory. I'm an old man later going, this stuff should be resolved. I know better now. How come that still hurts? You go back and you remember that memory. I'm telling my wife about it. Next thing you know, I got crocodile tears coming out of my eyes. And it's like, you know what? That's the way that is stored. That's a problem. This is a time in my life where something happened. It was never resolved. I didn't get acknowledged. It's put away, and it's a part of my past that is affecting me. It is affecting me whether I know it or not. It might come out in, how come every time this time of year, you get a bad attitude problem? I don't know why. Yeah, there's something that's not resolved that's cyclically happening here. Those ones get hard to find. Search your memories. Go look through your memories. Find things that you can draw up and feel the emotion of it. That emotion is how it's stored. We have to resolve those. But there's not an easy way. There isn't an easy way. I had more examples at that same time due to the tragic nature of it. But I remember being in school and being teased and, I heard your brother, I heard your dad killed your brother, all kinds of stuff. It was not a kind thing. I remember going in the woods and just curling up under the ferns. It was up in Washington State, so there's a lot of ferns in the woods, and there's a lot of woods. And I remember just curling up under the woods and crying and hiding from people. I remember the teacher the first day back that it happened on a Sunday. My parents made me go to school on Monday because they had 3 other kids at home and a funeral to plan, and they didn't know what to do with me. So, yeah, I go to school. And the teacher she gave me a note, too. Here, take this to the principal's office. And so, which is a weird thing because I'm in a daze. But when they saw me, the nurse directed me in. They put me in the nurse's office and just let me stay in the back room and lie in a cot and cry. I remembered those things, and I remembered how much they impacted me emotionally. They still sometimes do. When you explore that stuff, in this case, it's probably more compassion and things like that. It's understanding and realizing what's going on. But the thing you have to do in your mind is go back mentally and say, okay, now I am an adult I'm okay. I see how things go. But that memory is still there, like a little program. So what I do is I would just imagine I would look at that. Now there I am. There I am crying. There's that little kid right there. Doesn't know what to do. So I walk up to him in my imagination as my adult self, and I tell my early self, my memory, it's going to be okay. I kind of engage with that, and when it comes to it's like giving yourself the acknowledgement that nobody else knew needed to happen back then, and resolving that memory until it's like, okay, I see things are going to be okay. It's a weird thing, but the brain will work that way. The memories are really etched in there, and you can tell the nature of them by just bringing them up in your mind objectively and allowing the emotion from the memory to bathe over you. Just, what does it feel like? Shame, fear. It's going to be something based in that. It entails doing that, and there will be you started out in life happy, and things happen that bring you down, 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 down. And as you start resolving things, it's going to start a trend going up, 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 up. You'll feel good after resolving something, and then that'll become normal. You want to resolve something else because you go, okay, I see what I need to do. That felt so good and it was so effective. That's what I need to do. What else do I have? I got a lot of things. I'm not damn dumb. I'm not stupid. I'm not a piece of shit. I'm not all of those things. I'm not a worthless piece of crap. I'm not all those things that I was told over and over again. The 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, that's it. Those were my agreements. You want it simple? Go read that book. It's a very short, small book. The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. And it covers this material. What they are is the memories of something that happened and the emotional state that we maintain through perception. 2 people can have the same thing happen, and one of them is like, oh, that felt good. The other one's like, oh my God, I'm ashamed. I'll never want that to happen again. What is it? It's a mental process. We have to get out of our ego and our fear and address these things. Now, addressing them is different because we also want to resolve things in a world of people that don't want to resolve stuff. They just want to accumulate stuff. It's getting worse and worse. So it takes people like us, finding people like us who understand that, yeah, if you need to talk out what you did or what happened or something, you can talk to me safely. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, you freak, get away from me. We need to understand things. That we need to talk out and resolve these things in a world where people are telling you, shut up, keep it inside. But if you can imagine, I got a problem, I'm going to talk to somebody about it. How does that feel? Does it make your palms sweat and your heart race and things? That's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to tell somebody. Those are issues. Those are things that we have hidden. Those are problems for us. We don't know it. But if we can find somebody where we can resolve that with, it's like your problem is gone and you were the one creating it all the time anyway. But we need it happened because of something that happened between you and somebody and it has to be resolved somehow. It's like you can't just resolve it on your own. You have to be, well, maybe. If you can talk about it freely, I got molested. I'm okay now. I've resolved that. There was a time I would never tell anybody that. It was absolutely not resolved. Now it's like, yeah. Me and a billion other people. I'm all right. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not going to live my life devastated by something that happened long ago that's just not worth it. I have to get outside of that. I have to get to my observer self and not live through my memory self. That observer self is the one tossing, turning 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. If you got this frazzle stuff going on, that'll be happening to you. You're going to have this mental turmoil, but every once in a while, there's going to be a voice stepping in that's trying to settle you down and go, shh, quiet, let it go. There's nothing you can do. You need to sleep. That right there is the observer self. That is a part of you. When that voice starts talking, stop and pay attention to it. Let the memories are right there. Stop experiencing them and experience that higher awareness. And when you do that, pay attention and you will see that those emotions that you feel from the memories, you don't feel them from here. You don't feel them from the observer self. As soon as you leave the observer self and go back into the memories, boom, it's the emotions there again. These are the things we need to resolve, and we need to use that observer, higher self higher awareness. From here, we can look at our memories without the emotional connection to them. If we're trying to go through the memory, it's very difficult. So we have to know that blend. All right, I'm going to start recycling. I hope this helps. Or at least, gives a little bit different understanding. I understand the futility of listening to people that are saying just these flowery things. All you do is this or that. Just let it go. How? Just do this. Just do that. Forget about this. The brain doesn't work that way. Not everybody's brain. There are brains that do work that way, and maybe they can. Maybe they've had they don't have a lot of issues and they don't care about things. They don't hold on to stuff in the same way because it's a different brain type. So you are looking for something specific, and you're not going to find it at those places that are just talking fluff. They're going to be more popular, and you're going to have people there that are all over the place talking about how they're enlightened and they've done this and they've opened their eye and all that kind of stuff. And you can tell when people really have, because they know that it's an inner path of healing. Everybody else, they're just going to carry it. They're not the ones that actually engage with it. So you have to engage with it. And in the best possible way, I think, that I can understand it. I've tried to describe it in this video and how to do it. But if you have any specific questions, I kind of breaks my heart to see comments like that. Because I know that frustration. Oh, damn it. Everything is fucked up. What's it all for? And it's a tough place to be. It is. Take care. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Take care.